Well, it says we're live, so I hope we are. So, welcome, live from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I got a Patreon page, PayPal, and all that good info. Everything's down in the info section below. So that's it. So, let me see who's coming to the chat so far. First in was Kingpin today, then Squiblift, then Rich White, G23 so far. So hopefully others will start joining soon. And introduce my panel. Up here in the corner, I got Squibload. How you doing?
Hey, Rick. Doing pretty good today. Thanks for the invite. And in the pre-chat, we were talking about car stereos. I was listening to a song I hadn't heard in a while today, and it made me think about you with your pimp gun. So I was listening to Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice. So I changed the lyrics for you, Rick. Here we go.
Okay.
So the lyrics now are rolling down to the diner, packing heat, carrying a Smith & Wesson, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. There you go.
Pretty good.
Oh, boy.
All right. Next is Patriot in the Dark. How you doing? Talk to me, Patriot. Hit the mute button.
Wow, boy, you really made it good for me. I could have really smashed it out of the park after Squib, but
yeah, I'm not known for my singing.
How you doing? It's a wonderful day. I'm cooking 2 huge corned beef briskets right now. They've been cooking since this morning. Nobody home. I'm a bachelor.
You're going to be eating corned beef and cabbage for a few days, huh?
No cabbage. This is just corned beef. I got the cabbage for next week. No, I came across a nice sale on them, and I picked them up for like $9. They were like $2.11 a pound.
That ain't bad at all.
4 huge ones, so which normally they're like $22, $24 a piece, and I got them for.
What's that thing? Hoover Deliver down here in Indiana? Yeah.
No, no. Actually, I had a whole issue with the Kroger Instacart, and I had to go on Twitter and tell them they sucked before they'd fix the problem. And I put all this stuff in my cart, got to the end right where I was ready to send it in, and it says, "Oh, some things due to limitations, we can't fulfill some of the items that you have in your cart. Hit the button to remove and continue." And I hit it, and it took all 64 items out of my cart. So after the 3rd time and cursing and calling the store manager, asking, look around, is there anything on them damn shelves? I was complaining kind of a little bit, and my stepdad swung by and picked up a couple of them for me. So.
All right.
Because that was the last day of the sale.
Patriot, I'll do you a favor. Next time that door-to-door meat salesman shows up, I'll give him your name and address, and he can just come knock on your door.
No, it's fun, especially in the summer, because I'll keep them guys busy for hours. Just laugh. It doesn't bother me. I don't.
Yeah. Well, moving on. That man to do is Jason Stewart.
Fee-fi, faux-fam. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Well, you're the one with the Ferguson in your name. You're the one that has proof positive that you were a redcoat or related to one.
Oh, well, I was just making fun, Rick. No use in shaming me.
Yeah, well, hey, I got I'm goddamn half English, so you're just barely related.
Long live the Queen.
Yes. Okay, hang on a minute. I lost my chat. Here we go. Next in line here is Will and Well Armed. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. Glad you're here. Then we got the one and only New York Outcast.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Just want to give a little tip since Squid brought up meat salesman. Just so people are aware, they usually sell those, or used to sell those at $21 a box at a distributor. The guy that's at your door saying, a delivery was canceled and he's got to unload this, so they authorized to offer you a deal or whatever spiel they're giving this week. So if you offer like 23 to 25 a box, honestly, the meat's not bad. I've personally tried it. I can't speak for every variety. Most of them use Omaha steaks. And it's really not too bad. So if it's your type of thing, knowing that each box they're offering is 21, keep that in mind, and it might be worth it to you. But they are very pushy, and don't be afraid just to tell them hell no and slam the door. So it's never good just to buy something just to get rid of them, because that's counterproductive.
Okay, there you go. Let's see real quick. More people have joined us in the chat. We got the Gun Snob. Raphael's here. DJ Play Nice. So people are starting to trickle in. Okay, as you all can see, or hopefully you guys read it, my opening name of my show is In God We Trust. God bless America. What in the hell happened? That's what I was brought up to believe. And I honestly, today, the impression I'm getting, now, I know it's a touchy subject per se. I am not a church-going Bible thumper. But this country was created on a Christian sort of thing. The dollar bill has "In God We Trust." I mean, if the left had their way, they would have that taken off, but they can't unless they change the law, because that's stipulated the dollar bill's got to stay the same as it is. But that is the problem with today's society in this country. We've taken the concept of a creator who gave us these free, gave us these rights, and they're trying to take that out of the equation, and that is why the country is going to hell, in my opinion. That's what I meant by my opening thing there, is,
Sort of like we lose our values and things like that, our morals, our values. I think all that gets erased when you take religion away, right? Is that kind of
that's what I was getting at. Yeah, values and morals and all that have all gone to hell because they're trying to take out what this country was founded on. Today the kids are taught in school from a very early age to hate this country. But I don't know why everybody wants to come and live here if this country is so fucking bad. Instead of being taught to be proud of this country, yes, we've made mistakes in the past, with slavery, racism. I ain't denying it. It's happened. But I feel over the last 240 years, we've got a hell of a lot better. But
well, I agree with you, Rick, in a sense. I think it's probably not the right word. It's a word I've heard my father use, but pussification, I guess. I'm probably screwing it up, but of, the modern citizen individual, for one, and the lack of values. I think religion falls to that. Our Constitution's based on it, money, a lot of it. Whether you are, that type of religion or not, should honestly be irrelevant, because it still grants protections for everybody, and that's what makes it a good system, in a sense, a good option. So, it's kind of crazy to be against it when it allows you and protects you to be different and contest it if you like. So I don't understand how people are technically against it. And I would add, I think people, everybody's stuck in their own world too. their own areas, and they see what they see, and they get set in their ways. And like you're saying, schools, people do talk crap about America, and honestly, some of that crap is legitimate. So people can hate me, say what they want to, but we didn't become number one by being nice all the time, in a sense. But when you compare us to other people, we are still way better off and had way better rights. We had other people don't understand it because they've never seen it. So you can't really compare apples to oranges when you've never seen an orange.
Yeah. But back to what I said, if this country is so goddamn bad, why do we have a crisis at the border right now? People wanting to get here. And then you go around the world to people who are doing it correctly, to embassies and consulates around the world. People are lining up to get visas to come here. If this country is so bad, why do we have this problem? That's what I want to know. Because this country, but we're dying off. Us people who believe in this stuff is dying off, and we're being left with a bunch of pussies. I'm afraid to say it, but that's what's happening. And I just, even our potato head president, besides, the First Amendment, free speech is not guaranteed. That's what he's claiming now. You know what I'm saying? What in the hell is happening? I watched maybe the last 3 minutes of his speech the other night. It looked like he was drugged up to his eyeballs, and he must have practiced that speech for the last 4 days for you try not to make any mistakes. Then when he just turned around after he said, "God bless our troops," turned around and walked down the hallway like a fucking old man, I was about ready to run over there and give him a cane. But
you noticed that too.
Yeah. It's absolutely pathetic.
I told you he was just a puppet. Everybody knew he was just a puppet.
Yeah. Most beloved president, 80+ million votes.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about Donald Trump?
John.
There was a thing on USA Today on YouTube, and they just had him just like did blurb like a half a sentence of Biden from his speech, and then they would say what he meant, and then they'd do another like 5 words and say what he meant, and there were like 500 pluses and 5,000 down thumbs, dislikes, and everybody was just giving him hell, like, USA Today, you're covering for him, and he's senile. It was just funny how blatantly everybody was just tearing him up. You start looking at all the down arrows that you get whenever he does a video. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
When you have the leader of the free world, the leader of the most powerful country on this earth, address its citizens and tell them what he's going to allow you to be able to do, maybe, that's the way he was saying it.
Oh yeah.
And that's ridiculous. Last year for Independence Day, people were having barbecues in their backyard. They were getting together at locations. Maybe it was mostly outdoors and whatnot. It is the summertime after all. People were ignoring our governor in this state. And this year, we're damn well going to ignore this idiot president. So don't make any promises about, they criticized Trump for promising to reopen the country by Easter, which didn't happen. That was another empty promise he gave. Now Biden's doing the same exact thing. And he's, saying, well, maybe, but if not, if you don't do what we tell you to do, because you have to trust us to protect you, then we may have to pull things back and reinstate these restrictions. Who the hell is he to tell us this stuff?
The most beloved president that we've ever had. That's who he is. But you're right. I was going to bring that. Yeah, then he's telling us that we might be able to meet in small groups by July 4th, telling me what I can do. Fuck you. I'm a free man. I'm a free American.
Stop listening to his ass. It's a waste of time.
You know?
Well, people wanted to hear this one because he's been sequestered for so long, and now he's finally addressed the nation, and we got exactly what we predicted. We said he would be like this. When you were saying he kind of looked doped up, I thought he looked kind of doped up too. And the way he walked away, he didn't have like a strong, confident stride. He really did look like, once he got around the corner, they handed him a walker. Seriously.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's terrible.
Look at historically the image the president has to project when the country needs to be strong. Roosevelt had polio and hid it from everybody. And he walked into Congress with braces on his legs underneath his pants with his son holding his arm, and walked into Congress and fooled everybody. Even though the man couldn't walk, he did, because he didn't want the country to look weak at a time where they needed the leader to look strong. You got guys like Biden, he would never think like that. He would never, and I'm not saying Roosevelt was perfect either. Don't worry. He was kind of a shitbag himself too. But the thing is, he was strong for the rest of us when we needed our leader to be strong for us. And Biden wants to talk about leading us out of this thing that he was partially responsible for encouraging what's gone on in our country. And he could literally get on TV and go, "It's over. Tomorrow, reopen the country." He could literally do that. And I don't think anybody would question him. And he's not even doing that.
Yeah, you're right. I'm reading the chat out here. The Gun Snob said these restrictions aren't going away unless as a whole start ignoring them and doing what we want. Kingpin, I'm kind of leaning with Kingpin here. It goes, please, how many of you canceled Thanksgiving and Christmas? You will get right in line and not have a July 4th party either. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, see, we didn't cancel.
A lot of people will be like that. I think, Kingpin's right. A lot of people will be that way, but I think there's a pretty strong divide on people that are and aren't. I know, as far as I'm concerned, I go by off my best information, and anything Biden's got to say isn't any kind of good information, or at this point, even CDC, since they want to flip-flop back and forth. And general knowledge and a little bit of common sense goes a long ways. So I'm not going to let them dictate how I'm going to have company or live my life. Unfortunately, there's people in my life that are hindering to that fact. Associates and stuff, but that's their loss. We're still having a good time.
Yeah. Now, what brought this all on was yesterday down at the diner. My friend, who changed my oil, and I went shooting at his place. His son, he's in his 40s. He's a nice guy. But we were sitting. He had the day off, so we're having dinner. We're eating our breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to call it, and we were bringing up, and my friend who I went shooting with, he said he's, whether he does or not, he said, I'm going out in a blaze of glory. He said, they ain't taking one goddamn gun of mine. And he said, I don't care if I'm the only one in the damn town that dies keeping my guns. That's the way it's going to be. But then his son, sitting right there at the same table, said, well, they come knocking on my door and they ask for my guns. I'm going to give them to them. And I said, why? Why the hell for? He said, well, it's more, it will be the law. You got to do what the government tells you to do. And I said, oh my God. And his father was sitting there just shaking his head. He goes, this is what our country's come to. That's what brought it on,
See what happens when you stop being able to whoop your kids.
Yeah, no kidding. All of us got an ass beating, never ended up in the hospital, and it straightened us out.
It's not illegal. It's how you go about it. Your state law may vary, but it's not illegal. I still spank my kids if I had to. I did get investigated by CPS and passed every time, but still, you don't have to bow down to what your kids' friends think is the law or the way it is. Because, you know, they come here, I whoop their ass too. I wouldn't have to, and I wouldn't, but I'm just stating, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you can legally discipline your kids. It's just nobody wants to be the bad guy. Everybody wants to be the damn friend nowadays. Like, they don't understand they have a job to raise this kid for the world that we live in, not the one you wish we lived in.
It's not that it's against the law. If the law says corporal punishment is okay and you don't hospitalize the child, but yet they still report you, you're reported. You got to deal with that harassment. And if you go in front of a judge and they go, I don't care what the state law is, you're in my courtroom now, then there's nothing you can do about it. You can say, oh, I'll do this. You can spend as much money as you want on lawyers and everything else. These judges have way too much power.
But I got through it.
You know, I'm on the meaning of it too. Like Rick saying here about his friend. Even if your kid is 40 years old, he's still yours. I created you. And you say something stupid like that, I should be able to put my boot up your ass.
I don't know whether he did or not after we left or not, because he was shaking his head saying, oh, my God.
Yeah, once they grow up and move out of the house, they're on their own. They may come back to stay with you off and on, but they're grown adults. And, you know,
never too old to learn.
No, but the thing is, at a certain point, you're a grown adult. You're going to make your own choices. We might be somewhat like our parents. We might even turn out like, you know, we say, I'll never be like that. And then we end up doing it. But we're also our own individuals. You do the best you can while they're under your roof. But after they leave, they've got a million different influences and it's kind of out of your hands. Now, it doesn't mean that when they come to you for advice or things like that, that you don't try to, you know, level with them, or when they call you up to tell you they're sorry for everything stupid they did as a kid because their kids are doing it to them and stuff like that. You don't have, you know, you take that opportunity to have a good, you know, conversation with them and to let them know, hey, even though you're grown up and moved out of the house, I'm still your dad or I'm still your mom or what, you know, but the thing is, you know, if this guy's 40 some odd years old, his dad doesn't have any say over that anymore.
His dad already failed at that point. I mean, when it comes to kids and stuff, you got to put that in the kids at a young age. It's like, you know, 2, 3 years old.
It's going to stay with him for eternity.
Right. But all habits, you can look, you know, check psychological studies, whatever. Most of our habits are a learned response to some action, something influence that took place, something we learned not to do, whatever the case is. If you direct that in a positive manner at a young age, like, you know, say thank you to somebody, you know, don't jump around at the table and we're out. You get all that in young and stay hard on it. And you would spank somebody's ass, so they never make you do that. And it's not an issue. Those natural habits progress. It's like learning a bad habit. People continue to do that. It's easier to train somebody that knows nothing than that's learned something the wrong way. It's the same exact thing.
But I mean,
the younger you get them, the easier it is.
You're doing the right thing, Rob. You're homeschooling.
Yeah, because we refuse to deal with the BS of the public schools. You're not going to dictate how we deal with our kids or give them crutches or whatever else.
Like his son went through the public system. His son is what our public schools and universities
produces. Yeah,
just because the public
schools it's lost because it wasn't important enough to the father as a parent, or he put that trust into the school system, which I'm unwilling to do for several reasons. But in other school systems, it might still be okay to do. You know what I mean? But it depends where you're at, but not mine. So, and if anything, wealth, everything goes with you. The only thing left is your memory, your name, what you did for people in a sense. So your kids, I want them to have the best opportunities despite my personal needs or wants or whatever. So if we got to rearrange our life to do what's right for our child, that's doing what we're supposed to do. That's our job.
Right. I think you're both broad brushing parents today and public school system today. My frustration with the public school system is that my frustration with every government entity, there's no accountability. They work for me. And they need to understand that. That's the school, that's the post office, the police department, the fire department, all of it. They work for me. And none of them seem to understand it. They work for their union. That's who they work for. It's like, no, you work for me. So that's my issue with them. Now, I will agree that they don't teach these kids objective stuff all the time. They have a bias. They have this. But both of my sons saw right through that bullshit. The older one that's moved out and living on his own right now, he saw right through that bullshit. And my younger one, who's still attending school, will tell me all the time how retarded. He'll actually use that word. And I'm glad he does, because you shouldn't be afraid to speak your mind. It doesn't mean what people want to, say it means. How retarded some of that stuff is, because I raised my kids right. I raised them to do critical thinking. I explain things to them. And when I hear him on Discord talking with his friends about what happened in class that day, and they're all talking about how retarded it is and how it's a bunch of bullshit and how this isn't the way the world really works, or how it's all, left-leaning horse shit or whatever, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for making up their own minds. But I also understand that one day they might meet the right girl and she'll make him into the most, whatever. And I'll just be facepalming going, oh my goodness, where did I go wrong? But the reality is anything can change at a later point. This 40-year-old guy, do we really know that the school system made him this way? Or has it been the influence of TV shows and social media and his wife or his girlfriend or his neighbor or his coworkers or whatever? If you don't have what it takes to be able to go, no, I'm thinking for myself. I'm not saying you can't take advice from somebody or get ideas from somebody, but when you just want to be led around by the nose for your whole life, it doesn't matter whether you're exposed to something or not. You're just going to follow the herd. So if you can teach your kids to be independent and they decide that they want to continue to be independent after they've left the nest, everything else will fall into place.
Oh, there you go. You're right. You're right. But this kid, this 40-year-old, it's his wife that's turned him into what he is.
So he's pussy whipped.
Yeah, basically.
He's a beta male.
Yeah.
Well, that's something you're going to deal with that with every, man or woman. Some people just don't have a spine. So, and that's something else that should be put in the kids, in a sense that, you shouldn't need a partner to get by. You should,
I was
have a partner because you like one, and you shouldn't have to conform to keep people near you. So, a lot of people these days, like, I don't understand how these kids date in some cases, or, up each other's ass so much and this and that. Like, they're so much part of a life in some cases. It's just ridiculous. And then all the social media and everything, it's supposed to be like a partnership, not like a parent or a guardian in cases. If you don't trust them, you shouldn't be with them. So I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing's screwed up in my opinion nowadays. But that's because everybody needs this instant gratification, and they gotta, they're not getting that dopamine hit that, she responded 2 seconds after I text 20 times a day. Then something's wrong. Their self-esteem is hurt. Goddamn pussies.
But I tell you what, I maybe my thinking's getting screwed or whatever, because every week I on YouTube I listen to Dennis Prager in his fireside chat. I don't know if any of you other guys listen to him, but sometimes he says some good shit.
Sometimes,
yeah. But he had a question there from one of his a writing question from one of the, he calls them the Prager University or whatever, people who think like he does or whatever. And this guy said, what do I say to my professor who said that he thinks that universal minimum wage is a good thing because it get people off of welfare. And Dennis Prager goes, that is fucking welfare. If the state's giving everybody a minimum wage to live on, that is welfare. And that's what this country's come to. People want the state, the government, to take care of them. They don't want to take care of themselves.
Well, socialism, Rick.
And it's pitiful. It really is pitiful. I mean, yes, I mean, I'm disabled. And if I can get something, a subsidy or something from the local government or from the federal government to help me, I'm going to do it. Does that make me a socialist?
It depends. I suppose it depends. Okay, you put into the system that you're drawing out of now. So I would say mean you're not. But if you vote for the people that keep telling you, if you don't vote for me, you're going to lose this, then maybe?
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. No. When it comes down to voting, I only have one or two things that I think about when I'm voting, and that's a free market and being able to, and the Second Amendment. You can forget the rest. I mean, even that senator from West Virginia, right? Did you notice he's even cracking on his stance on the filibuster? He's open to maybe doing it differently, but still having it. So he's cracking. So we could be in a world of hurt when these, because Corn Duo, oh God damn, your fault, Rob, your buddy, Schumer.
Ain't my buddy.
Said those gun bills will go for a vote on the floor.
Outcast, you're going to catch crap just because where you live. I made a comment in somebody else's video and somebody commented back, well, we have that law here in New York and I don't see a problem with it. And I said, fuck New York.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's what a lot of these bills seem like. It seems like, I've been saying this for years, it seems like they're trying to enforce what they call SAFE Act on the country. With the background restrictions, all this type of stuff, more checks than all you guys are used to, which, we've been dealing with. And I don't agree. I'd fight it. I don't like it here. In some cases, I think if you're legal, you're legal. That's really all there is to it. So shouldn't be any reason why I got to wait to pick up a firearm when I got one sitting on my hip. I don't understand that. But, apparently you don't want to use the one you're familiar with. You want to use a new one for a crime or something. I don't get it. But, I think there's just too many laws, too much BS. I mean, all it's doing is hindering legal citizens, and every other week making more people paranoid about being a gun owner because you never know what week something's going to happen, and all of a sudden now you're a felon. So, it's just scaring people away from self-protection and creating more dependence towards the government, which in our state aren't even going to help you. Like they're pretty much tell you they're not going to help you. So you're just supposed to be a good victim.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm keeping my guns and everything else. If something I own or something I do makes me a felon, so be it. I'll become a felon. You know what I'm saying? If I get caught.
Getting to that point myself and looking to move before that happens.
So, Indiana's pretty good on their guns, except for the red flag law, which we've had since 2005. But our constitutional carry here in Indiana, it made it through the House. Now it's at the Senate, and it's in the it's being picked up by the committee. The how you pronounce it?
Judiciary.
Yes. Committee, and it has a damn good chance of passing this time.
Heck
now,
yeah.
In my opinion, getting constitutional carry in Indiana is more important than trying to repeal the red flag laws, not because I believe in the red flag laws, but because they've been on the book so long, they're not really enforced, and it's a lot harder to get rid of those than it is to introduce something new like constitutional carry.
Absolutely.
You go back later and deal with that red flag law. I've said the same thing about Michigan. We've got a handgun registration here. Everybody tells me how oppressed I am because of it. They had the handgun registration before I was even old enough to buy a gun. They've never used it to seize anybody's guns. I don't like it, but I think it would be easier for us to get, constitutional carry in our state than it would be to repeal this because the Michigan State Police back it, and it's been here so long, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying that at some point it wouldn't be a good strategy to go after the registration and get rid of it. But I think if you put other things in place beforehand and you make those mainstream, for example, when we went to shall issue in our state, from may issue to shall issue, the Democrat governor was so busy dealing with financial issues that she really didn't pay much attention to it. And she even admitted a couple years later, I wanted to stop it. I was busy. I thought it would turn into the wild, wild west. It didn't. And since it hasn't, I'm not messing with it. This is from a hardcore Democrat who wasn't even an American citizen, by the way. That's kind of jacked up. Regardless, that's a sort of way that you get these things. And now, shall issue and conceal carry in the state of Michigan is commonplace. It's mainstream. And nobody thinks twice about it. If anything, they've reduced restrictions over the years on concealed carry. And that's what I mean about being strategic about how you deal with these different things. We'd like it all to go away, but these people who seem to think that with the stroke of a pen, we can just make it all go away overnight, or let's go after this thing that should be at the bottom of the list. Let's put that at the top of the list. You're wasting resources and you're not being effective. I think there are people out there who don't know how to fight a war, trying to make some of these decisions for the rest of us, and it's not practical.
I agree with you. You're right. I'd rather fight for constitutional carry here in Indiana than repealing that red flag law.
And quite frankly, if you guys get constitutional carry and Ohio gets it, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier for Michigan to go, look, our neighbors have got it. Why don't we have it? So you benefit each other as well. When your neighboring states pass laws, you take opportunity. You strike while the iron's hot and you go, hey, why not? Because it'll go the other way, won't it? How many times have we seen some of these states, their bordering state has an unconstitutional law, that oppresses us, and the neighboring state goes, yeah, they've got it. We've got. Look at Oregon and Washington. You think they got those ideas on their own? They got them all from California.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, but also here in Indiana, all right, just giving you how good it's getting and why I think it has a good chance of passing is our 5-year carry permit is free now. You can $75 if you want to buy a life one, but a 5-year one is free. Which is good to have for traveling for the reciprocity of the states right now. But so that's why I think constitutional carry will go through. The state police chief or the commissioner or whatever he is opposed to it because he said it will make it harder for us to know who is a prohibited illegal, to distinguish from a prohibited person and an illegal person from owning a gun with constitutional carry. I don't see how that makes any sense, but that's what he claims.
Yeah, I kind of can see what he's trying to get at, but I still don't think it matters. I think that every citizen, you're innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I'm not trying to help out a bad guy, but at the same point, you can't assume every individual carrying a gun could be a bad guy. So I got to go ID him because that's kind of crappy. You know what I mean? In some places, I'm sure they have. I mean, there's been policies that stop and frisk and all types of different things like that in the past that have actually took place that, I don't necessarily agree to, but at the same point, that could be the line he's thinking where, now if we have any doubts, we're going to have to ID everybody. And that's going to be a hassle when you got people like us saying, well, what the hell? I didn't do nothing. Get the hell out of here. I don't have to show you shit. So, I can see, but either way, that's part of the job, unfortunately. So, and really, you would think it wouldn't be an issue unless a complaint was called anyway. So,
yeah. Now, do figures show? I mean, is crime up or down in states that have constitutional carry, or has it stayed the same?
I've heard that it's down. Now, you could say, somebody will say, oh, that was just right-wing propaganda. But the thing is, every time they reduce restrictions on your ability to defend yourself, it makes it tougher on criminals.
How?
Because they realize that the threat is there. If they think that they're going to meet resistance, they're going to go to a softer target.
Yeah, actually,
so if they know you can't have a gun, or they know that it's going to take you time to get a gun, like the boyfriend that goes to kill the ex-girlfriend because she's got to wait 60 days to get a gun or some crap like that, right?
Yeah,
things like that. When they passed shall issue in the state of Michigan, they did some analysis a little bit later, and they said that violent crime had gone down because now these guys have to think twice. Does this person have a gun? We don't know. That's one of the reasons I like open carry. A lot of people say it makes you a target, but I disagree strongly. You're more or less saying, come and take it. You want some of this? Come and take it. When you're concealed carrying, they don't know. But if you're in a state where a lot of people conceal carry, it's a normal thing. Criminals are going to be, I don't know if they got a gun or not. I mean, the dumbest ones won't, or the highest ones won't. But, but when you got that gun out in the open and they're going, yeah, I think I'm going to go over here where these people don't have guns. You know what I'm saying?
There's pros and cons of that, Squib. I mean, in a way, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. We thin the herd, but that's less problem for the people that don't have guns. Not justifying anything indifferent or bad, but,
But yeah, I mean,
people, it's almost better if an asshole tries to take advantage of you being armed, capable, and willing to defend yourself than the guy with his wife and kid that isn't and has no ability. Because at least that son of a bitch will get what he deserves and won't be bothering the other guy walking with his kids.
Yeah, but in my state,
I'm all for taking out the trash as far as, violent criminals. You want to strong arm rob people, you should get shot. You want to drag people out the car, you should get shot. And we shouldn't pay for your ass. You want to rape kids and stuff, we should be done with you. I'm the hell with rehabilitation, okay? You're an adult. This is, America. You're dealing with our kids. No, I'm sorry. We should just be done with these people. Bullets are cheap. I'm sorry, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying guards and paying for health care and now giving people checks and all types of stupid shit. No, if you're that type of person and there's no gray area, let's just be done with the shit. So, in that case, concealed carry kind of has benefits because, some asshole tries it, they're more likely to get what they deserve.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a little risk in that, but, there's risk in everything. And personally, I'd rather see the shit scale drop instead of continue to rise or stay where it is.
I'm not saying concealed carry is bad, but what I'm saying is if you live in a place where there's no concealed carry and you're not, or open carry, they know you're not armed. You're already, a target, right? But if you live somewhere where you can open carry, they're going to see that and they're going to go after somebody who isn't visibly carrying a gun. But if they live if you live somewhere where a lot of people conceal carry or can conceal or open, and it's a lot. It's going to make you think twice. When some of these states have decided to go shall issue like other states, they've looked and seen, well, okay, this state went shall issue 10 years ago. Did their crime go up? Did their crime go down? And then they go, well, we'll do shall issue too. Why? Because the crime went down. I mean, you know, when a guy's out with his wife and his kids and somebody wants to mess with him, in some places, he's not going to have one gun pointed at him. He'll have two because she's packing heat too. You know what I mean? So I just think that things like national reciprocity or national concealed carry would go a lot further than, say, repealing the NFA. And you make it more mainstream where everybody can do it and everybody's got the protection of the law to be able to defend themselves. Sure, you'll have your day in court and, you know, you should have concealed carry, you know, or just carry insurance or whatever. But as you make it mainstream, then it's easier to whittle away at things like 4473s and NICS and NFA and stuff like that. But the people go, no, we need to repeal the NFA. Then let's go for constitutional carry or national reciprocity. They just want their toy. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking if we normalize this and make it mainstream, people won't look at these things as death machines. They won't look at all of us as criminals because we're not.
I agree. And here in this state, that our permit says it's a carry permit. I can carry open or concealed here in Indiana. So normally I wear an outside the waistband holster, and all my shirts are never tucked in unless I'm wearing a shirt and tie, which is very rare. So I mean, sometimes my shirt will raise up and, you know, be hanging, and my gun will be hanging out in the open. It doesn't bother me, you know. Now, back to what you were saying, are you concerned, you know, like the criminal sees that you're carrying, Squib, so he might go hit us off the target, or would he attack you thinking he might be able to get that gun away from you because he can see you got one?
I think that would depend on whether it's personal or not. Most criminals would probably pass him, like he's stating. But I think if it was personal, you know, putting myself in the eyes of a bad guy, it would be easy to try to get somebody distracted while you snuck up behind him. And I do know of times, or, you know, several times people have been disarmed in cases, but usually it's due to that surprise and overwhelming force. Anybody can be gotten. So that's something to remember. I know we all think we're, you know, Rambo or invincible, whatever the case is, but there's, you know, probably a couple times a day where your arm's not guarding your pistol and somebody's walking beside you that could have took that chance. Is it likely? Oh, no. But it could happen. So, you know, depending where you are, the situation, it does happen. But is it you? Probably not. So, sorry, I know I'm not Squib. I just want to throw that out because I know Squib's going to go on and say it's no difference and you're safe and whatever. And most of the time, the average person probably is, because most people aren't on that level. But there is a few people that are coming to you because they know that you do have a gun. So, you know, keep that in mind. Those are the worst kind.
All right. So you agree, Squib? Is Squib around?
I had to step away.
Oh, okay. All right.
He didn't want to hear my crap.
There we go.
Give me the synopsis.
You didn't hear my question?
No, sir.
What my question was, you were saying that if I heard you right, that the criminal sees that you are wearing a gun because you're open carrying, they would go on to somebody else. I said, or would it be they see that you have a gun, so you might be the one they want to get out of the way first?
Statistically, no. But regardless of statistics or, you know, things like that, when they interviewed these guys in prison, that they said the presence of a gun encouraged me to go somewhere else. All right. But those guys out there to go, I don't open carry, even though it's legal where I'm at, because I don't agree with it, because it makes you a target. Hey, dude, do you. If you think you're interpreting what I'm saying as concealed carry is worse, no, I think they both have pluses and minuses. I prefer open carry. And if the person wants to come after me, do it. Bring it on. I don't care. I wouldn't be carrying it if I wasn't afraid to use it. And I wouldn't be carrying it if I wasn't willing to bear the responsibility. If somebody wants to sneak up behind me and blow my brains out and I don't even know it, or shoot at me from the rooftop above or whatever, I'm not going to see it coming anyhow. These people they're going to sneak up on you. They're going to sneak up on you anyhow, whether you're concealed carrying, open carrying, or not carrying at all. So that's why I say them seeing it and going, that's a big gun on his hip. I think I'm going to go over here where nobody's carrying any guns.
People are just naturally stupid. Look, they went after Kyle when he had an AR-15 in his hand. As Rob was saying, and Budget says, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So you should be prepared for both scenarios, all scenarios. People are just plain stupid.
Or you could stumble across something they're trying to desperately get away from, in a sense. Committed a crime, a guy kills his girlfriend or beats her up, and you're standing in the way with a gun. So you might not even cross your mind, and he's thinking now it's you or him. So, even though he had no clue it was coming, in a sense. Not stating, obviously perfect scenario for everything. On a general, I'm a concealed carry guy. I would open carry, have open carried, but I just personally, it really ain't anybody's business, in my opinion. That's just me. And I do see values to both. So I'm not against either, like Squib said, it's up to you. I think there's times for a show of force and times to blend in my opinion.
All right. I have another question for you, for the panel here. On some of these, I'm not sure of the two that are going through right now, but a lot of these anti-gun bills that get proposed and looked at, it's, it says you can't do this, you can't do that, except for active military or law enforcement are exempt. What makes them so fucking special?
That's pretty typical of all their gun control laws.
I know, but what makes them so fucking special?
Because
nothing.
They drop their pants and shit just like I do.
And there's a good chance the majority of them have shot less than you have.
Yeah. That's what annoys the piss out of me in these bills. When, you're exempt because you were a police officer, or you're exempt because you're active duty military.
Rules for thee, not for me.
I would say 90% of active duty people, the only time they ever held a gun was in basic training. Most of them are office pushers.
The exemption for military is while they're through uniform, while they're in service, not out in town hanging out. That's never the case for the military. Active, reserve, retired, doesn't matter. They don't get an exemption because they serve. Now, there might be some provisions in a concealed carry law that says you don't have to take the class because you were in the military, something like that. But when they're saying, everybody's got to have a 10-round mag except military, that's because the military might actually get deployed there. And, what's the sheriff going to do? You got to turn in your 30-round mags, right?
Yeah.
So, but now, as far as the law enforcement thing goes, law enforcement, judges, people like that, whether they're active or retired, have always gotten a pass. Everybody seems to think that because they're involved in the law or they carry a gun every day as part of their job, that they can all shoot like Jerry Micklick and everything else. And that's not necessarily the case either.
Oh, yeah.
I think they try to use the fact that they may have personal, people having an issue. They have good reason that somebody may have an issue to harm them or wish them harm. But when you follow that line, I could state the same thing could fall for anybody. You can't speak for what's going on in somebody's life, or if they testified against somebody or this or that, or had something to do, called in a CPS case that saved some kids from being sexually assaulted, well, the other people on the bad side of that are going to be pissed off. Whatever the case, you know what I mean? Their life, in my opinion, isn't any more valuable than yours, so there shouldn't be that difference.
It's another example of power they have that they want over you, but they are not going to let go of themselves.
Yep, exactly.
If you want to argue their point or this or that about it, a law enforcement officer. We've all seen the stories, and sell some of the most tragic, murder, suicides my town's ever seen was law enforcement officers. If they're supposed to be a law enforcement officer, and I'm not picking on them or anything, but they're supposed to be the greatest of all time and protect our community and service, you know what I mean? Well, then you know what? I want to make sure I have the very best person qualified for the job. So they should be vetted, investigated, background checked just as much as me at the very minimum, so we could all just feel a little better about it.
Yeah. I mean, what Rob was saying, I used to say this when I lived in Rhode Island. I used to watch our police department at the range, because their range was behind the city dump, or transfer station, as they like to call it. And I used to sit there and watch them. And I used to think, oh my God, those are protecting us, and they can't even hit the target. It's pitiful. But they get exemption on certain gun laws because they're law enforcement. It just pisses me off. It really does. But you've got mail. What can I? That's how I was feeling on that. But my God, an hour's gone by already. Jesus, we lost Patriot. He said he was leaving, but I see he's in the chat still. But
he's playing with his meat.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Damn quitter.
Yeah, you're very quiet on all these topics here, Will and Well Armed.
Yep. I'm deadly worried about HR 1 and HR 8. I challenge everybody to write their congressmen and senators this week and every week until something breaks free.
HR 1 is scary. That's the vote. That's the voting bill, right? To change.
That's the voting bill. Yeah.
Well, now, you know what? Not to be Debbie Downer, not to be Mr. Fearmonger,
not to be Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Podcast. Yeah, go on.
That's Rob's job. He might file a grievance with the YouTube union.
Careful. I think it's too deep.
I have serious doubts that anything will be stopped on our end. Like I'm just saying, both these gun controls are going to pass. Feinstein's assault weapon ban is going to pass. This HR 1 for the voting of democracy safe act, or whatever they're calling it, that's going to pass. It's all going to pass. Everything that they bring forward is going to pass. And I'll tell you why. Because there's steel bars and barbed wire fence and troops surrounding the building that's making those decisions.
You have a point there. Yep. I got a feeling it's still going to take 60 votes like the gun control to pass. But the more I'm watching those guys, the less sure I am. I said they never get 60. I ain't sure anymore. I'm really not. Because we got such wimps in there.
And Mark Rubio just as flip over that fence just as quick as he can find a ladder.
Yeah, you're right. But that HR 1, though, if it passes, unfortunately, I mean, it takes time. But the actual bill, oh, shit. Hang on. There we go. The actual bill is unconstitutional. You can't change that, because what they're doing is changing what the Constitution says.
They did it in November, so
they did. You're right, and the Trump administration sat on their ass. Yes, they did.
So these congressmen and women are probably going to sit on their ass.
I mean, because it shouldn't be done, because you got to have a goddamn constitutional amendment to make those changes differ from what the Constitution says. So it's not legal. But as you said,
the Constitution is a living document in their eyes. Everything's unconstitutional that they do. Every rule or law that they put forward is unconstitutional. Shall not be infringed means nothing to them. Free speech means nothing to them. Freedom to go gather and assemble and worship means nothing to them. Like, circle back to your point, in God we trust. What the hell happened? It's because they started the war on religion long ago. And religion in the church is at its weakest power right now than it's been forever. There's no influence anymore. Okay. They can't have in God you trust on the money. They don't want you trusting God. They want you trusting them. And the churches and the religions had more influence on the citizens and the people than the government did. Well, they got rid of the churches, weakened them, created what we have now as the World Wide Web of internet and information exchange, as well as propaganda. Now they are the biggest influencer. They can't have anybody else threatening their power. So the churches have got to go. You can't listen to your pastor. You have to listen to the almighty Joseph Biden, you see. See, that's how they've worked this for years. It's coming true before our eyes. Now, you just whine and complain about the little details. Just like I said, don't whine and complain about the little bills. Whine and complain about that fence and that barbed wire and them troops out there, because your voice is not even being heard.
Well, Jay, also churches are now extremely liberal. I mean, churches are not where they used to be. I mean, churches are secular in their reasoning, and just a whole, just like the Pope is right now.
Morals and values that used to be taught in the church.
Goes right back to what I started the show with, doesn't it? Yeah. Morals. And stuff.
A lot of the churches, like you just kind of stated, aren't what they used to be either, in a sense where they've kind of put a bad name out for themselves. I mean, let's think about all the child abuse choices in religion. Let's look at the money, these mega churches and stuff. I mean, if you go back far enough, people used to have to do all types of favors just for the pastor or whatever to say a good word. In my opinion, you don't need a middleman. You don't need to pay somebody else's way or whatever the case is to have that between you and God or whatever your God may be. But needless to say, so the churches have some fault in this too. But I do think on a general guideline, you got to have some kind of baseline. And with our country set up the way it is, I think people here should respect it. Whether you agree 100% or not, it still gives you the right to disagree and coexist. And that should be worth something to everybody.
Yeah, well, see, each church is like a small individual little political sector, okay? A little community of people, right? So, they can't have that competition. Those are pockets of influence. But the scripture, the Bible, that's the common theme of them all, they've attacked that too. The morals and values, not regardless of which church it is, but what the scripture says, the morals and values and stuff that a lot of us older people grew up was taught was wrong. Not wrong by law or wrong by this senators, wrong by the word of God. Things that were taught to us as wrong is now taught to you as acceptable by law, and it is against the law for you to disagree upon it. That is the ultimate attack on religion.
Absolutely.
Some would say that's a sign of the end, too.
The end of days, the Antichrist.
Yeah. I'm not trying to get all crazy about it, but some would say that, and with other things that are happening within the planet this time.
There were people that said the same thing before Donald Trump got elected. So I think it's on both sides. You have people that want to, I mean, Jason, you're talking about the government wants to destroy the church, but the last 2 times I went to church, the guy violated federal law by telling the congregation to vote for Biden. So, I think you've got as much as you don't have. I think as long as you're on a certain side when the music stops, you'll be okay. But do you want to live that way? Do you want to be that person?
A lot of churches have to construct their stuff, in a certain way too, for the government grants or whatever, or, tax exemptions, all that stuff too. So I think it's, be classified as a 401c3, I think is how they do it. So, which kind of gives them some hoops to jump through. So, in some cases, mandated reporting, different things, blah, blah, blah. So keep that in mind too. A lot of these churches, they're not what they should be, in my opinion, because they're kind of on the take too.
Yeah. See now we're getting into churches, religions, and all that is where I draw a line on this thing, Christianity. What the founders were basing our Constitution on. Unfortunately, people get it confused. They think a church, and they think it's all the same. There is a difference.
It's decency and values. Kind of like patriotism towards your country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want to be the greatest nation on earth. We should be, the greatest people of principle. But it's very twisted nowadays. Very twisted.
You should be proud to be an American. Today, they're trying to tell you not to be. So I mean, I have, I as I said, you heard me. I'll be swearing here, dropping the F-bomb through this whole show. But I got a Bible right behind me on this bookshelf. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, what version though? Because translation's a big thing too.
Oh, what version?
It's the problem. Unfortunately, these books are made by man.
Okay.
It's King James.
Things get misinterpreted, like thou shalt not kill.
Hey, it could be an NIV.
This is the
how
new.
They try to keep trying to switch things up.
The New International Version, and actually, believe it or not, I got this 20-odd years ago. This is a Recovery Devotional Bible. It lines up verses in the Bible with the 12 steps. But it's the actual Bible, but it has little sidebars with the recovery stuff in it.
Well, it doesn't contain the book of Enoch, so there's a whole section of life that you don't know about.
Yeah. But that's the one I got. It's the New International Version. That's what it says here. And it was printed in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So there you go.
I watched the Book of Eli a couple of weeks ago. I'm surprised that movie made it as mainstream as it did, being about the Bible and the importance of the Bible and people willing to fight over it in the future.
That was an
got
interesting movie.
10 different ones, including the Hebrew and some on other religions as well. And I'm sure there's even more.
Yeah. Well, I still trust in God. I'm hoping good will prevail over evil, and we can make it through this. We can make it through the next 2 years, because we've got to take the House and the Senate back. Then you can stop Joe in his tracks, or Kamala Harris.
What's her face? Yeah.
Because I think she's going to be in there before the year's out. But
a lot of damage can be done in 2 years.
I know. But I think good will prevail over evil. That's what we were taught anyway.
I've mentioned in a couple people's chats. I didn't get any response. Maybe nobody's heard the news, because you know how they cover everything up. He is talking about peace talks with the Taliban.
Oh yeah,
and giving them half control of Afghanistan.
yeah, and giving them pallets of $100 bills too, and guaranteeing them to protect their poppy fields. Yeah. So there you go. That's your leader, the most beloved president this country has ever had.
Yeah. After 9/11 and a decade and a half of war to where we have them almost extinct, wiped out, you should be carpet bombing them today, not giving them control of a country.
Absolutely. And to me, all the military who have died, all you're doing is spitting on their grave. You know, you died for
politicians. Politicians are good at that, especially those who never served a day in their life.
You know,
and the ones who have served that do that, shame on you.
But at least we have jet fighter pilot suits for
pregnant women,
pregnant transgender soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
What the fuck?
And then new haircuts too. New hair regulations.
There's your budget.
Like,
there's your increased budget expenses.
Yeah.
How can you fly a fighter
plane breastplates?
How can you fly a fighter plane pregnant without?
How can you be doing anything physical, like on a front line scenario, pregnant?
They're allowed to wear more makeup
without endangering the risk of the child.
Now,
I mean, come on.
You know. So what happens is you're going to have a hooker out on the front line with an AR-15 strapped on her. You know.
The makeup thing
sounds like my hometown.
Haircut restrictions or makeup restrictions being eased or not literally has more to do with recruiting. Seriously. Like the Navy couldn't get anybody to join. So they said, all right, you can have an earring off duty. Suddenly they got people to join, right? Things like that. But there's certain things that physically you are going to risk harming your child. I'm not saying I had a WM friend who was pregnant, and they had to issue her different uniforms that she could wear, and she could still perform her duties, but she wasn't lifting certain things or she had other restrictions that they allowed. That they told her, you can do this and do that if you choose to. But flying a fighter plane pulling G's is not going to be good for a fetus. So, I can understand makeup and haircut, but not the,
Well, even makeup, not makeup, but even haircut for state, could be an issue. I mean, you work in a, industry or factory, however you look at it. I'm sure there's regulations. When it comes to machinery, whether it's a man or woman, loose items, hair, jewelry, those are all issues. And, it's a joke until you get a hand full size, ripped out of your head somewhere, caught in a drill or into some type of press, and then it's not funny anymore. Most employers won't even allow you to have certain things as a civilian, or your hair has to be kept a certain way in some places. So, depending on MOS, I can see that as being a problem, but that's, on it.
I mean, in the budget,
the general order, but I can see it being a problem.
I mean, we got a huge budget for the military, but I don't think any of it should be going to transvestite surgeries.
I saw an article yesterday. The military has spent so far $8 billion, or is it $8
should
million
be your own dime
on that already.
Yeah, the thing, and also the thing about the uniform is, the argument, should a pregnant woman be in a flight suit in a jet fighter
G
pulling
suit.
G's where it constricts your blood flow and everything to keep you from passing out.
Can't even get
should
on a fair ride if it's
Should
fair.
a pregnant woman, be asked to do that job? You know what I mean? It's one argument, but that's just the ridiculousness of that uniform and the bulletproof flak vest shaped for a 9-month baby and all that.
Yeah,
But they also are redesigning the uniforms. So if you were a guy and you transitioned whatever into a woman, they're making a good uniform so it like physically fits your biological man body, but we're gonna spice it up and tweak some things so it gives you a more of a female appearance. That's bullshit.
No pregnant lady should be
Your
on any
scientists
front
should be
line.
working on better bombs and better tanks and better boats. You shouldn't be working on how to make clothes on a man resemble a woman. That's ridiculous.
How's she gonna drag a 200 guy, 100 yards up over a hill, or 200-pound guy over a hill, with all his gear? How's she gonna do that?
Hey, they're not. It's going to be. They're saying.
Well, then you got no business being there. I don't want you there. I don't want you next to me.
Saying,
like what the hell are they doing?
Behind won't be said anymore, because the pregnant woman ain't going to be able to drag your ass back.
And, people will say, okay, so they're not on front line, so you're at a whatever, you're further back, we'll say, so they couldn't get attacked, an emergency couldn't happen, there couldn't be a fire or something where it involves you evading an issue quickly. I mean, if you can't even pass the normal physical, it don't matter, man, woman, or whatever, you shouldn't be there.
Okay, look,
you should be out of duty at that point.
They will pull your wisdom teeth before you deploy overseas because they don't want to risk you getting an abscessed tooth in a combat situation. So if they're going to do that stateside before you actually deploy to where you might end up getting called into a combat zone, why would they let you go overseas to something like that if you're pregnant? I'm not buying all of this. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible with some of the leadership we have, but I don't know that I'm buying all of this.
Squib, since you disagree, like some reporters had the balls to disagree, the Pentagon generals come out and shamed you all. How dare you discriminate against the pregnant woman jet fighter?
They should be ashamed.
The generals come out and like Tucker Carlson was talking about this, and they came out and jumped all over him about it.
Oh, but he answered them back good too.
Oh yeah, he got them good.
Oh yeah.
Well, in that case, then our country is being led by pussies.
It is.
That's what he was saying, basically. Yeah.
I've never said that a woman can't fight. I've never said that a woman can't drive a tank or fix an airplane or do whatever. But I also understand that because of certain physical issues, there is a time and a place where it may not be the best idea to have a female in a combat zone. That doesn't mean that if she is in a situation and combat erupts that she's going to go hide in some bunker. No, she's going to be right there in a fighting hole with me, throwing down lead and whacking Haji. All right. But that doesn't, there are reasons. And, if somebody wants to label me as a misogynist or whatever, go right ahead. I've got friends who were female who served with me in the Marine Corps who didn't have an issue with that because they understood human physiology. They didn't feel weaker or inferior. We never treated them like weaker or inferior. And as a matter of fact, some of them had my back in some situations where, I didn't really care that they were a woman or a man, just a fellow Marine. But some things are kind of obvious. But when you say that, the other side twists your words. They twist science. They twist the enemy's tactics, and they call you a misogynist, and they say you're a dinosaur, and they say you're not being equal and fair and all this other stuff. And I cannot accept their idea of throwing away science or experience over these feelings that they want everybody to have. You have ignorant people out there who don't realize that women have a menstruation cycle. They have people out there who don't realize that the enemy are barbarians and they will rape these women if they capture them. They'll kill us. They might torture us, but they'll kill us. They'll rape them. And they have people out there who don't seem to understand that if she miscarries because she's lifting something heavy onto an airplane wing or running through combat with a 90-pound pack, that's okay because they're okay with abortion, I guess. So this is their back door abortion. I don't know. But just because she's the one who has a child, or just because she's the one who the enemy doesn't look at as equal the way we do as Americans, doesn't mean that she's incapable of leading. It doesn't mean that she's incapable of doing any other job. It doesn't mean that she's incapable of having my back. And they don't want to hear that part. All they want to hear is, you said she shouldn't be in a fighting hole for 30 days because she has a period. Fuck you.
There you go. There you go. Well, guys, this is a good conversation, but I'm going to start winding it down because I'm getting hungry. My cats are getting hungry. And it's just that time. But before we do that and do everything else, and is the quiz from last week. And my question was, I wanted to know the inventor of the first modern fragmentation grenade. And it was Sir William Mills, English engineer. He invented the Mills bomb, which was developed and manufactured at his factory in Birmingham, England. Actually, it's not Birmingham. I'm becoming Americanized. It's Birmingham. So you don't say ham, you say Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah. The Mills bomb was the hand grenade most widely used by the British and Imperial forces during the First World War. He was knighted in 1922, by the way, if you want to know why he was called Sir William. Okay. So, my handy-dandy, we had 6 entries. So, my handy-dandy random select thing here, let me pick my button here. Here we go. Raphael is the winner. Raphael.
Woohoo. Congrats.
He ain't won in a while. So, I'm glad you won, Raphael. Is your address still the one I've got down in sunny Florida? You know? So
hey, Rick.
What?
Just as a suggestion, maybe it'll motivate people, but why don't you mention who all are the entries and put their name out there?
Oh.
I mean, not now, just, as a part of the process.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm going to do that now. My 6 entries were Wilden Well Armed, Raphael, Jason Stewart, John Brown Productions, Patriot in the Dark. I think that's 6. And there should be one more. Oh, 2 Live Moo.
Huh.
And those, most of those enter all the time.
Sounds like Squibb and Rob been slacking.
So, Raphael's the winner. So, yes on the address. Okay, great. I'll get it in the mail to you. Oh, and this week's quiz, it's good, goes for 2 weeks because I must, saving my swag. What's my question now? Okay, now I got the swag pack here. Got a couple of patches in it and some stickers. And this is a 2-part question, email only. In the American Western series, Branded, which was out in 1965-66 time, right? Because this is back in the days when they used to do this. they should do it now. They do it differently. I want to know who sponsored the show. And I want to know what rank was he in the show or was in the show. His character was Jason McCord. It was played by Chuck Connors. And I want to know what rank he was when he was drummed out of the military. So there you go. Who sponsored the show and what rank was he? Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it into me. You got
that's too easy.
Too easy? So we got 2 weeks.
Yeah, you gave too much information.
There you go.
Because I don't even know, and I can tell that, it must have been the actor or whatever, is the guy who sponsored it or something, because from what you're saying. So
the answer to this one will be given. So you got to the 27th of March. That's 2 weeks. So there you go. Oh, and as of today, anybody's interested, since it's free money, it's not free money. It's our money that our great grandkids are going to have to pay back to the government. But they're saying Wednesday is the official day that if you get your check, it's valid on Wednesday. Your $1,400. They claim some are even getting them this weekend. I haven't got mine yet. So just want to let you guys know that, I mean, okay. I mean, I might not agree with what they done, the way they done it, but does it make me two-faced or whatever? Or whatever? I mean, they deposit $1,400 into my bank account. I'm going to take it. I'm going to be honest with you. That's just simple truth. I'm going to take it and I'm going to spend it.
We all will, Rick.
So I've already. So there we go. And it's going to, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Well, I do. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to use a few hundred of it for my cats. Well, I say that I got to take them to the vet. I never get out of the
vet. Damn money, Rick.
I never get out of the vet for less than $300 because the two cats, time they look at them, do their tests and all that kind of shit on them, So. But hey, yeah, $1,400.
Try to save half of it.
What?
You should take half and act like you didn't even get it. Just put it away, and then pay for your cat or whatever. No. And if you insist, buy a gun, because something's gonna happen. You're riding the line, damn it. You're riding the line. You're gonna be up here saying, "Oh, come to my Patreon to help me pay for my gas to get down to Debs in 3 weeks," because you're not thinking ahead, damn it.
His name's Rick, not Rick Strike.
Hey, it's $1,400 that I never had. So if I spend
so you won't miss 700 stashed away for emergency. I mean, maybe you need to come hang out with us down the road next time we're in town.
Debbie Downer. Debbie Downer. I'm 64 years old.
It's not a downer. It could be an upper. That's the whole point.
Now,
you know what I'd do with Rick, because that's what I'm going to do with mine. That's what I did with my last ones. They gave me one. I took my money. I bought all the stuff I could for reloading before it all disappeared. It's because the government wants to take my bullets. So they gave me another one, and I took their money, and not to break their heart, I went to the store and I bought an AR-15 with their check. Thank you very much. And if you send me another one of them checks, I'm going to go to the gun store and I'm going to buy something else you don't like. So that's just, how it is. Always make me feel good. Hopefully I have my rifle forever and always know where it came from.
Yeah, I was, since I don't know you guys were here, but I actually shot an AR-15 on was it Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday. So
Freedom rifle.
I'm thinking of, but they ain't cheap right now. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
really overpriced for what they are. It's a $400 gun.
Supposedly PSA had them for sale for like $600 complete in
Well,
stock.
I
Don't know if it's true or not.
They're at 800. I looked. Yesterday.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know if it's true, but that's what somebody was saying.
The cheapest one I could find was $799.99. You know, unless somebody's got one they want to sell me cheap. Well, not cheap, but at a decent price before universal background checks come in.
See, that's just it. You could say, I don't want to spend $1,200 on an AR-15 right now. But if you get it right now and then you're grandfathered in, then is it $1,200 well spent? You know what I mean? It's a matter of perspective. You could say, I paid $500 for this gun, and 3 years later, the company goes out of business, and now the guns are really expensive, or the laws change, and if you've got it, you're good, or whatever it is. And you're going, man, I made a good investment. Or you could pay $500 for that gun, and then they ship a boatload of them into the country. 5-6 years later, now it's worth $250, and you're like, I paid too much for this gun. You take a risk, but I mean, you've got to take a look at the climate and make your best judgment based on your finances and what you're willing to do.
With everything that's pending on the gun ring, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go buy magazines, buy parts, buy whatever it takes to keep what you got right now going. Get the things for your guns right now that you always wanted to get or change that you haven't gotten around to. Now might be the time, because it could be a real short amount of time and all of a sudden no more magazines for you.
Yeah.
So if you can't go get an AR-15 now, then make sure you can do the best with what you do have.
Yeah, right. Oh, and another thing.
What would you do without?
Thing I just wanted to mention.
What would you do without your government Social Security, or without your Social Security, Rick?
Hey,
how would you survive?
How would I survive without my Social Security? I really don't know. But I paid into that all my life.
Right. So now you're depending on that. What if, for example, something was to happen and that wasn't reliable anymore? You would be kind of screwed.
That's right.
Not saying it's likely. I'm just saying. So with that, do you trust the government? Right?
You know what I would do? I would swallow my pride, put my guns away, and come see you in New York.
Well, do you trust the government with everything going on?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, then you stashing a little bit of money is not the worst idea, man.
But I'm feeling better about Social Security now that nearly this is going to piss some people off. COVID, 500,000 people have died, and most of them are over retirement age. That's released a lot of money in Social Security. There's going to be more money for us.
Rick, that $1,400 isn't going to do you any good setting in the bank, especially with all the people who think it's not real money anyhow. So just spend it.
Yeah. I'm
going to live once.
I wouldn't set it in a bank. Then you're an unsecured lender and they can take it or mess with it at any time.
Anyway, where I'm going with this is I got my, I had that cortisone shot or whatever, or steroid shot, whatever it was, in my shoulder Thursday. And I can move my shoulder. I can't, I can move it a lot better. It doesn't hurt like it did every time I move it, but it still hurts. So I think there's more damage than just arthritis in there. I think the rotor cup might be damaged, but hell, I can at least move it now more than I could. I mean, I can raise it a little bit higher than I could before. So it's good. But anyway, what I was going to buy, it ain't expensive, and I don't need the $1,400 to do it. I'm going to buy me one of them rubber things if I can put on my shotgun, if I can try shooting it now. You know?
Oh, recoil pad.
Yeah. So I got it. I mean, it's only a Maverick 88, and it's a 12 gauge. But hell, I ain't shot it in 3 years. You know,
they sell stocks for like at least the Mossberg, which should be compatible with the Maverick 88. If I'm thinking correctly.
yeah.
But they sell rear end stocks that actually have like a little shock spring thing built into them.
Yeah.
So when you fire it's absorbs some of that recoil. And from what I hear, they work quite well. I haven't tried one myself, but they're usually about $120. So, but if you can shoot it comfortably, or shoot it all day like that, it might be something to look into. Besides, because just the little rubber pad is going to help, but it's not going to help that much.
Yeah. I'm going to look in to see what's out there. But yeah, you're right. Everything on the Mossberg is at 500, and the Maverick 88. The only difference between them is the safety. That's the only difference on them, where the safety's at. So there we go.
Maverick 88 Mimic 1 from Mossberg or the Remington, so I wasn't sure. Thought it was in Mossberg.
Yeah, it's I cleaned it the other day. I mean, it didn't need a lot of clean. It wasn't dirty because I said I ain't fired it in 3 years. But I just ran a pad down the barrel just to get any dust out or any spiders build a nest in there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Squib, you got any shout outs or plugs?
No, I guess not. Hey, one thing, Rick, if you do set on the money, you don't spend it right away. A legitimate reason might be because the gun you're looking for is out of stock, and you set up a notification. And as soon as you get that email, you can pull that money out and buy it. So if you can't find what you're looking for, set up some notifications, and hopefully when it comes back in stock, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Guys are like 12-year-olds with the lines.
I remember years ago when I first got into guns. So we're talking about 5 years ago. And I did have some spare cash from what was it from? Oh, I think I got $3,000 for my wrist, my injury, or something from my workers' comp. I think it was something like that. But I bought other guns instead. But I had the chance. PSA had a deal where you could buy an AR-15 and an AK-47, both guns for less than $800. I know I should have bought it then, but I didn't.
See, didn't they have batch and serial numbers at the time?
Something like that. They sold them in sets.
Yeah.
There was a day milk cost $0.25 and got dropped off at your door too.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to keep an eye out for an AR-15. But see, I don't want to pay more than $700. To be honest with you, then I'll cry at spending that. But we'll see what's out there. Maybe I could make one, buy an upper and a lower. Get it cheaper. But then you have to buy a bolt carrier and everything else, don't you?
No, it comes with it.
Some uppers come with bolt carrier, some don't. Some of the more higher priced ones will have one, the lower price won't. Obviously, just because that part's missing. But it's called a complete upper. When it's got your bolt carrier group and everything, all you got to do is pop the pins, slap it on the lower, and you're good to go.
Then you just got to buy
a complete lower or build it yourself. But you'll save about $300 by just popping the two together.
Now you need to. Then you got to buy some sights.
The upper
when I bought my LWRC, it came with sights.
Okay. Rick White, back in Rick's youth, a Snickers bar would cost you a shiny new nickel. Yeah. And I remember going to, when I was a kid, and I spent my summers on the farm here, right? They had a soda machine outside the door with glass bottles in it. And I think a soda only cost you, was it a dime or a quarter? I can't remember if it was a dime or a quarter. This was late 60s, early 70s. But I remember they used to drop it in there and the Coke would drop out in a glass bottle when you put the, popped off with the bottle opener on the side of the machine. The good old days when you all used to ride down. We all used to jump in the back of the pickup truck, about 6 kids sitting in the bed of the truck. I'll be sitting on the wheel arch, bouncing down the road, going to the local store. Totally against the law today to do that. So, another freedom they're taking away from us. I'm getting tired. It's time to fight back. Not literally, pick up your gun and start shooting people. But it's time to say, no, we're not doing it. We are a free society. Where's your backbone? You bunch of pussies. So
Exactly. Hit the nail right on the head.
I don't wear a mask. I mean, I went to the doctor's. I put the mask on and I told the doctor, I said, this is getting tiresome too. I'm about ready to take this, not wear it when I walk in here. And if you won't see me, oh, well, I'll get by somehow. He looked at me and just shook his head. So, but I don't wear it in the store anymore. I don't wear it down the diner. There's a lot of things I don't do, So, because I'm fighting back. I'm doing my thing.
I've been fighting back for years. I avoided doctors, but when I've gone, I've walked out a few times due to them. You get there and they always want to keep you sitting around forever. And it's like, I just left people somewhere or this or that on a job or whatever the case is to get here, to sit here for an hour, to go in the back, to see you for 5 minutes, to be running out the door again. I'm like, this is crazy. So I even called the last time and asked them, everything's still on schedule. They were like, yeah. Got down there and I went in, waited like 15 minutes. I got up, left. And the lady said when I got there after 15 minutes that they're running about 45 minutes behind. I couldn't believe it. So I just got up and left. And they called up and like, well, we were ready to see you, but you left. And I was like, yeah, sorry, but life continues. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you had an appointment. You should be there, damn it. A few minutes are fine, but they're getting crazy. Like they're holding you hostage. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And I'm stubborn, so I just, I'll just walk out. But I haven't been playing their games for a long time. It's too much crap, man. Too many hoops. Like, which how things are for me is how they should be for you and vice versa. So, your job doesn't necessarily make you more important than mine or whatever the case is. Everybody thinks like you're just supposed to sit there and bow down and wait to kiss the ring everywhere you go. It's ridiculous.
That's right. Stand up and be an American. Be proud to be an American. So, I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to start preaching that. Be proud to be an American. Yes, this country has done some bad stuff in its time. But we're still barely hanging on to being the best country in the world. That goddamn idiot we got in the White House right now is in his first 100 fucking, how many days he been in there? 50 odd days. He sure is fucking it up fast. We're becoming the laughing stock of the world.
Yeah, but at least we can sleep comfortably knowing we'll always be better than England.
Yes. Yes. We won't have no, the royal family, will always be white.
We're also blessed with mac and cheese and ARs.
Oh man, I tell you, what a bunch of crap that is. I haven't even listened to any of the bullshit. I don't know why this country is getting so upset over those two people. They got nothing to do with this country. The royal family is British, not American. You know, so who cares? Who really cares? I don't care. I've never liked her. I didn't even like it. I used to like that TV show she was in. I didn't like her in that. I didn't like the character she played, but I liked the show overall that she was in. But when it said she was marrying him, she's just a gold digger is all she's after. And she realized she wasn't going to be the queen because there's too many people between them and the throne. She said, I'm out of here. I'm going back to Hollywood, you know, and he's pussy whipped. He goes, yes, dear, and follows her over here. So there you go. That's my take on it. Anyway, even though I lived in England for so long and I say stuff, I have never, ever, well, that's a lie. No, it's not. I have never, ever traveled on a British passport. I've never owned a British passport. I've never been issued a British passport. I do have a British birth certificate along with my U.S. citizen born abroad birth certificate. And I've only ever used it one time. I was on vacation in Morocco. I went to Tangiers for 2 weeks to live on the beach. I think I was 19 or 20 years old at the time. That was a wild.
I have some good stories there.
That was a wild time, I'm telling you. But yes, I'll give stories on that next week.
Yeah, most of you, if you lose your birth certificate, you go down to the county clerk's office. Rick has to request his from the State Department.
Yes.
And there are people that are supposed to be able to recognize the certificate of U.S. citizen born of U.S. parents abroad, but they don't always know what they're looking at.
Yeah, but where I was going with this, I was living in England at the time, and I always travel on an American passport, right? I had no problems getting into Morocco because I was American. I didn't need a visa or anything. So, but when we flew back to England, everybody gets off the plane. You're coming through customs. All the English people, the big line of people there, and other nationalities was way down the other end, and I was the only one that walked down there because I was the only one on the whole plane that wasn't English, right? And I walked up there and showed them my passport, and they go, "Where?" Back in those days, you had to have a visa to live in England or to visit England. It's going way back, and I said, "I don't need one." They go, "Oh, yes, you do. You're an American." And it's inside. I always keep it in my passport, but when I hand my passport over, I take it out. It's my British birth certificate. I opened it up because British birth certificate is a big, long piece of paper. It's about 2 foot long. And I opened it up and go, "You got to let me in. I'm British." They stamped my passport. Thank you very much. And I walked on in. That's the only time I've ever used it. So,
what the hell is it so big for?
That's just the way they were made. I don't know. It's about.
They're making up for something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Instead of like the footprint, do they do like a back print or something?
But it's about this long. It's red and it's written. So it's handwritten with a fountain pen. You know, with my mother's and father's names on there, where they come from, and all this shit. You know?
Sometime you should cut a piece of paper around your personal information and show us the generalization, or we could probably look it up. But I'm curious. But obviously, I don't want you to show your actual certificate. But that's
it don't bother me. I don't have any.
No, don't show it, Rick. Don't show it. Don't do that. I mean, unless you cover up your information. You never know, and it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, Jason, any plugs or shout outs?
No, appreciate the invite. Great conversation today. Everybody have a good Saturday, and God bless America.
Okay. Yeah. Also, anyway, back to I'll talk. If you remind me next week, I'll come up with stuff. But when I spent my 2 weeks in Tangiers, the place we were staying at was sort of like an under 30s sort of club type thing. Our hut was actually on the beach that we stayed in. I mean, our floor was actually sand because it was sitting on the beach. So anyway,
A hut.
yeah, hut.
Okay, I got to hear this story next week.
Yeah. Will and Well Armed. Any plugs or shout outs?
Yeah, I did a LWRC video just shooting on Friday. Shadow 2 on this morning, and got another one coming out tomorrow morning at 10. So if you go over there and look at those, I'd appreciate it.
All right. All right. New York Outcast. Shout outs.
I just hope everybody eats a salad this weekend. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for me. And thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for having me, Ray.
Yeah. Actually, I might make myself a salad again. I had a salad the other day. I might make another one for tonight. You know.
There we go. You eat it before it goes away.
It's either hamburgers or grilled cheese. I haven't decided which. And I'm not. What?
Burgers.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm leaning toward.
It's too bad. You could have gone up the Patriots. You could be eating like a king right now. He's got all that. He's got all that meat on the smoker or whatever, and it's just him by himself.
I know. And I mean, how far is he from me?
About 5 hours. Maybe no more than that. Yeah, maybe 6 to 7 hours.
Okay, he's way up there. So, all right. So, okay, so we got everybody. So that's it. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for sticking by us for the last almost 2 hours. Believe it or not. So, right, let me write down Raphael's name here if I don't forget who won. There we go. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me on a Saturday afternoon as the weather's getting better. I think it's about 60 degrees here today. So I said, spring's on its way. So we can get out shooting the other day. I want to go out shooting again. So what I'm going to do, instead of shooting my 9mm, my 45, my 380, I got thousands of rounds of 22. So I'm going to take my lever action 22 and shoot that. I don't mind wasting my 22 ammo. So, there we go. That's what I plan on doing. So, what do you think?
I had the same kind of plans. I'm just waiting on the weather to get a little bit warmer, maybe tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So I want to say thanks, everybody, for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all on Wednesday at 7 p.m. If you got any questions for Shooting with Disabilities, any questions that you're interested in or want to know about or anything like that, by all means, email me and I'll bring them up. And it's the same with this Saturday afternoon chat. If any topic you want us to talk about, just email me and I will bring it up. So, all right. So I'll see you got everybody later. So good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Rick.
Hasta la vista.
shaken, not stirred.